This is Juggle Jabber number 14 with Kati Yla Hokkala. In 1992 she co-founded Gandini Juggling, and together with her partner Sean they have created and performed more than 30 unique juggling productions. Kati started out as a rhythmic gymnast but became an excellent juggler with remarkably great skill in passing and combining movement patterns with juggling. Sit down and enjoy this long interview with Kati Yla Hokkala.
Juggle Jabber.
We'll start. We
Cheers.
pretend this is a drink and then cheers. Thank you for inviting me here. Kippies? Kippies.
Kippies.
I feel so bad. I've learned so many Finnish words, but there's so little connection to other languages that I know that
I know.
they keep
It just
flashing
goes out of
through.
your
So
brain.
everything from how are you to thank you to those kind of things.
So why do you have a? Do you have?
Oh, I
some
had
Finnish
a
people
Finnish
in
partner before, a Finnish juggling partner. I lived together with a Finnish girl when I lived in
your-
Berlin.
Oh, okay.
But
Okay, so you should know some.
I should
more
know
than-
some. I should know some, but kippies. I'll do my best. So this is the naked. What's it called?
It's
Naked
a naked
juice.
blue machine.
Blue machine. I was so
Blue
confused
machine.
when I read the name first. I thought, blue machine, is that like some kind of slush puppy? You know, like where they have this machine that goes through. But actually, it's a really nice.
No, it's not bad, is it?
Yeah, no, it's great. I love. I'm a big smoothie fan, but like I said, I'm more of the innocent type. But now I'm gonna remember this.
It was only in America that we got used to this. We didn't have them here, and then when it arrived in the UK, we were like, oh, the naked juices.
Okay.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's my favorite.
Yeah, I can understand why. I've been reading into you for the last couple of weeks, and I suppose you've told this story a couple of times, but many people might not know of how you ended up starting juggling, because I think it's an interesting story. It might be a good starting point for people who are interested.
Well, it sounds like it's a made-up story, but it actually was seeing Sean juggling in Covent Garden doing a street show, because I had never seen juggling in my life before, and I think I was 19 maybe, and having done about 10 years of rhythmic gymnastics, I had the objects in my system, but I'd never seen it done with 3 at the same time. So I was like, wow.
Because
that's
rhythmic
amazing.
gymnastics, you only
We only
manipulate
have
one
2.
at a time. 2,
Yeah,
okay.
well, 2 clubs.
Mm-hmm.
So I watched the show, and I don't remember, to be honest, I don't remember much of the show, but I just remember thinking, wow, that's amazing. I never knew that you could do that. That's like a job. That's incredible. So I went to talk to him, and I said, can I try your clubs? Because I used to do gymnastics, and I'm not sure if he knew at the time what that was. Maybe he did. Actually, I should ask him. But I can't remember. Can I try your clubs? Because ours are so different. Ours are like really thin and hard and.
Is it a little bit like the Indian swinging clubs, or?
Yeah, but really small. Like they're about this length, and the handle is really really long, and at the end you have a bulbous bit about this big. The balance of the weight is completely wrong. Like, why they have it like that, I have no idea. Because when you try the juggling club, you're like, yeah, okay, that makes sense. But this one, the way it spins is just so weird. But anyway, so he was like, yeah, there you go. Have a go with my clubs. And obviously I knew how to do some things with the clubs, so it was like, well. And then I was in London to be an au pair, to learn the language. So I had like a Sunday off, so I used to go every Sunday to Covent Garden to practice juggling. Yeah. So there we are.
Well, it's
That's
quite magical how it then turned out that how many years later are we? 20 years, 30 years later?
so that was 1991.
So this
So 27
years later
years.
that you are still together with the same partner, still
Yeah.
juggling, still in London.
Yeah.
It's,
Sean didn't actually teach me juggling, though. He didn't teach me the cascade. It was somebody else, but pretty much everything else.
Do you reckon if you had seen it somewhere else, would you have been as interested? Would you have been a juggler as well if you'd seen I was going to say a video on
I don't
YouTube,
know.
but that of course
Yeah, I
was
don't
not
know.
an option.
I don't know. Probably. I don't know. I would hope so, but it's hard to say at this point. Whether it was Sean's magical charms or just the idea of the juggling. Maybe a bit of both.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I suppose the juggling can grab you really strong if you're into that kind of relationship with objects.
To be honest with you, I think as soon as I tried it, as soon as I learned 3, it really did. For me, it was like, wow, that's just great. And because my personality is quite obsessive to start with, or I like the idea of standing in a room for 2 hours doing something repetitive. So it's very, very suitable for me.
Yeah, well, that's
like probably most of us.
yeah, of course. That's like a perfect
You
match.
have to have that. If you can't do that, don't juggle.
So then from that moment on, did you stand in a room for 2 hours to do that? Because I suppose some things you can learn quicker because you had rhythmic gymnastics, but you push it to a high level without necessarily...
Actually, like when we started, we didn't... like I learned 5 balls quite late. I didn't pay much attention to numbers or things like that. We used to do a lot of 2-person stuff. So we would play with different...
From the beginning on already?
From the beginning. Like that was pretty much the only thing we did. Like I learned the Mills mess or something, but we were more in trying to learn things to do together and to move with them and to incorporate them in some way into some sort of movement phrases or... And obviously I had done some sort of moving, and Sean was very into going to dance class at the time, so we went together and we found this amazing teacher, Jill Clark, who we then did classes for maybe 6 months with, and then picked up the courage to say, would you please would you look at some of our stuff, because we need some help with our things. We have some patterns and we have some moving things, but we don't really know how to move on from this. And I remember Sean phoned from a phone booth, because at that point no mobiles. I waited outside and he was like, okay, I'm gonna phone her. I was like, yeah, good luck. And she said yes. I'm like, yeah, wow. It was good moment.
Yeah, so Jill then looked at your juggling patterns together with the
Jill
movement?
Jill then came in, and she was fantastic because she had no knowledge of juggling, none whatsoever. She had, like me, she had never seen it, and she straight away went, okay, so what if you, at that point, your leg goes this way? And she straight away started suggesting things, and she wouldn't say, or rather, she didn't know what was possible, so which was really good, because she wouldn't say, try this, no, you probably can't do that because of this. So it would make us try things that at first you were like, that's never going to work. But it then somehow always we managed to find a way. Yeah, it was a long and fruitful collaboration.
Did you then never feel limited by the juggling? Because if you have a movement-based teacher, you can discover movement on its own, I suppose. And juggling kind of holds you back from being able to do everything because there's physical limits. Has the juggling always been on the forefront?
I think not at that point. I didn't feel that at that point, because for me everything was new. So, and I wasn't really aware of what was going on otherwise. I'm not sure if there was that much going on otherwise in that field. So we were just doing our own thing, regardless of anything. This is what we wanted to do, and this is what we were doing, and Jill was helping, and we went to the direction that we wanted to go to, just because that's what we wanted to do. But now when I look at the films from 1992 and I look at the juggling, it's I do remember some people saying, it's nice the way you make simple things look so... And perhaps like my juggling knowledge was pretty limited. It was like, I don't know, trying to get away with doing a cascade and a 3-4-2 and a bit of Mills messing and a bit of, with these huge balls as well. Sean insisted on using these massive stage balls. Like I had such trouble just holding 2 of them, but no, we had to use them because they look good on stage. So yeah, that on top of everything else. Jeez.
Yeah, I can imagine so many challenges to overcome. Also, what you described, so many patterns doing together. I suppose then the knowledge of social cycles were very limited. So where did these patterns come from? Or was it like classical
weren't there.
Exactly. So
we were doing
Did you invent most material?
Well, yeah.
On the spot there.
Yeah. Sean is fantastic. Sean has always a million ideas of a million patterns, and I, at that point, and actually still now again a little bit, we had a bit of a lull in the two-person pattern making, because we did so much of it in the beginning, and we were busy doing other shows. But we've started again, and we have this beautiful pattern called the octopus.
Oh yes, yes.
Yeah, so we're gonna start trying to find some other things.
Yeah, you tried to teach it at the BJC where.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
It was a bit too complex to learn over there a little bit, but it definitely looked very exciting. It was.
But we started often with just simple, like simply just sharing a cascade and sharing with different hands, sharing in every possible way and position, and sharing 2 throws, sharing 3 throws, sharing 3, 2, 1 throws. Just doing every variation of that pattern, and then moving on to Mills Mess or other patterns.
And the movement came straight away on top from there, or?
What we would often do is we would go in the morning to do Jill's class, take the sequence that she taught, take that away into the gym and work with that. Maybe try and put 3 balls into it, or try and see if one person starts from the middle, one starts from the beginning. Is there a way that we can integrate the sequence into some sort of a 2-person sharing? It was just a lot of trying. A lot of time spent on in our living room learning, and not much fighting.
Oh, well,
no, we didn't actually. Honestly, we didn't. No, surprisingly, I think maybe that's why we're still here, because we managed to not fight.
I have so many questions to move on, but still on the same spot. How did you have the resources to be able to spend all this time living in London, juggling in the living room, going to classes? Because I suppose
Sean was doing street shows still at that point, and I was working in the market. I sold jewelry, pens, God knows what, whatever job that you could find to get just a bit of money to pay your rent.
And it was then a vision that juggling would at some point take over when you would be good enough, or it was just
active
hobby?
Do you know, I really very clearly remember the day when I was thinking, it would be amazing. Can you imagine if we could just do this, just this for a living, and we would actually get paid for it? I was like, why? That's never going to happen. Like, it's too much to hope for. And I guess Sean would have a gig. I don't know, like some sort of a walkabout somewhere. And he was very sweet. He said, why don't you come along and we'll try some of these things on the streets. And the agent at the time who used to book him, called John Hall, who used to work for, he owned a company called Crowd Pullers, who Sean used to work for a fair amount. He was very sweet. He was very nice. And he liked the idea of us doing it together straight away. So then he started booking it as a duet, and so suddenly I got paid for juggling. I was like, what? That's so crazy. Yeah, that's how you just build it. We were lucky. We had some nice help.
And then from there you progress, and of course.
And then Sean did a tour with a company called Rara Zoo.
Yeah, I've heard about this.
And then they needed performers, so we went to audition as a duet, and they took us, which was nice. And I was at that point, Finland wasn't part of the EU, so I had no work permit. So what do? We get married. Because the boss was like, okay, great, fantastic. So Kati, you bring your work permit tomorrow and your passport. I'm like, yeah, okay, yeah. And then home, I'm like, I don't have a work permit. Shit, what do we do? So we did do a little bit of a fast marriage thing. Partly because we had to, but we're not cheating that much because we're still here. So. But it was a bit weird. It was like, shall we get married?
Yeah.
All right.
If it's just signing a paper.
So it wasn't exactly a romantic thing, but yeah.
Well, it did work out, it seems.
Yeah.
From the outside, it seems so. Back to rhythmic gymnastics, because you were at quite a high level, right? Like a national champion, or
Yeah, but in Finland.
I don't know what in Finland.
No. In Finland, where we were, particularly at that point. Now they're quite good. So at that point,
I don't know. I wasn't there. You can tell anybody anything.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. We trained a lot, like actually mad amount of training for nothing really, because actually, like we did a few.
Well, I
international
suppose it's a fun hobby
competitions,
at least, or.
I don't know if it's a fun hobby, you know. I'm not sure. Now when I think about it, I'm not sure if it was a fun hobby.
You trained because you felt like you had to? You had to represent your club or your country?
I really enjoyed the team we were in when I was about 11 or 12. Yeah, 11 or 12. We had a team, which was really fun, because that's like you're throwing to each other, and plus you get to be with other people, which was nice. Actually, those other people I just met now in Finland, so we're still friends. But then they kind of thought that I would be able to go further, and which at that time I was like, oh great, yeah, soloist, nice.
What does it mean further?
That you become a soloist.
And that you compete for years on.
Then you're on your own. Then you just train on your own. You get shouted at. You get told that you're crap, and you've got no friends there. I don't know. I'm not convinced. I think nowadays they have different ways of doing things, but at that point, I didn't enjoy it that much. I enjoyed all the objects and stuff, but.
No, because I was thinking, I know quite a few rhythmic gymnastics who turn to circus, but none of them do much with objects. They're mostly contortionists, a few hula hoop artists, a few who put the ball back in their work. But
yeah, I know, it's a real shame. I think there's people who really love the object, like jugglers. And I was never super flexible, so I had to be really stretched to
that's my least favorite thing about circus.
It's not good. So that didn't come to me naturally. Whereas I used to love doing all the object stuff. That was my favorite thing. And I used to love designing the programs and making all the choreography and all that. So I enjoyed that bit. The competition was so stressful. Who needs that? It's horrible.
It's not the same kind of thrills as performing?
No. I don't think so, no, because you're really judged, and from one mistake. I remember this one routine I dropped once, and I was like, well, what's the point now? I've lost it. So it's terrible, like ice skating. When it starts going badly wrong and they start falling, it's awful, because actually they're still a beautiful ice skater, but you know that once they've fallen once.
I can only think of these commentators that describe the whole event and are always a step ahead. But then
it's horrible. Yeah, it's horrible. I wish there was a way to have it as some sort of exhibition sport where you just show it, because
almost like circus.
Yeah.
Which is.
And I wish that more girls would make the transition into circus or some sort of performance. A lot of them do. But also sometimes we've had a couple in the circus space, the National Center.
Yeah, the National Center of Circus
Arts. Yeah. There was one girl particularly that we got very excited about, and we thought, yes, finally somebody who's going to join the juggling thing. And you know what? She didn't have the patience. She realized that juggling is so much hard work. Like you really need to put the hours in. She was very flexible. She was strong. She was pretty. Aerials. Easy.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's what happens.
That's what happens. Yeah, it's a real shame. But I think it's literally that you don't have the drive to. You don't have the thing for the juggling.
Yeah, I always thought it was something to do with the obsession for objects. Like I personally have to fiddle with things in my hand.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I remember my mum being really upset because I used to throw a knife around, just flick it like this, and
because if you have this kind of automatic incline, then training becomes easy.
Yeah,
These 3 hours pass quickly. It never feels
in fact,
hard work to me.
It's like a relaxing thing because you're going through your thing and you're like
5-hole meditation. It's,
nobody's going to bother me for 2 hours. Yeah, it's true. But I'm not sure if I would recommend rhythmic gymnastics as a hobby, or if I had a daughter. No.
Juggling though?
Well, yeah, of course.
Good. We're on the same line, on the same page. Yeah, jumping 27 years forwards, then.
Forwards?
Yeah, forward.
Wait.
Like today.
I can't even count how old I am.
They were like from where we were, so we're now in the present.
From here. Let's not be optimistic.
No, we landed back in the present because things have changed. You're not just sharing patterns with Sean and having classes from Jill Clark, but now you are leading together what I think is the largest and possibly also longest running juggling company that...
Comercial are going still.
Okay, fair enough. Not the longest running.
There might be others as well, I don't know. But,
but they have been a 4-5 person team with exchanging members, and you have been... is it possible to count how many jugglers you've collaborated with, and how many shows have you running at the same time right now?
I should know how many jugglers, but I would estimate, because there's been so many, I would estimate 40, 50 different people.
And how many shows are on at this moment?
At this very moment, we have
Sigma?
the new one, which is Spring. 4x4 is still going. Smashed is still going.
That's been 5 years or so?
Yeah. We have Sigma, which is Bharatanatyam in juggling.
I was going to ask how to pronounce that.
Bharatanatyam. We have 8 songs, which we're not in. It's 6 great rock and roll jugglers. We have, that's it from our shows. We are trying to move also into a little bit of producing. So we have Gibbon, which is the charming Jose Triguero and Chris Batfield doing a duet. And we are trying to help Wes get to a place where he deserves to be as well, within the theatrical world.
That means, in your case, producing Zebra and producing Water on Mars.
Exactly, yeah. Well, Water on Mars no more, because I think that's finished.
Are they not performing it anymore?
As far as I know, no, because they're in Las Vegas. The 2 boys.
I thought this show in Las Vegas was also called Water on Mars. But
is it? Yeah, it could be. Yeah.
At least part of the same
Okay,
project.
so let's say it's still going, but not.
But not was part of Gandini.
Yeah, I don't know.
It seems like a logical step up to...
Yeah, and also it feels like if you can do something to people who you feel like should be there, should be touring, because there's loads of space for loads of us. If we can do something to help them get there, then great. And I guess we have an infrastructure that can do that.
Yeah, so what is infrastructure? It's I suppose your artistical guidance?
No, not so much that, because I trust the people we are producing to have their own artistic, they're very strong, so there's no need for that. It's more the administrational side. It's more selling the shows. We're lucky in that we have a certain reputation in some, like France, for example. So we've done 1 million shows in there. So occasionally people come to us to ask if we have other things, at which point we can show them all the other shows that we have as well. And I guess if
they get the Gandini seal of approval.
Yeah, it's silly, but if they've liked the three last shows that they've seen of ours, then they have a trust.
Oh well.
So I guess it makes sense. So it's more that.
And otherwise, you try to have a little influence in these projects or in how they look like.
No influence. Well, yeah, no influence.
Because for me, I
I
was
trust
surprised
them.
to see when I saw for the first time West Peden produced by Gandini on Facebook somewhere, and I was like, that's a new development.
No, we have total trust in Wes to do his own shows. That's not the producing in this case means purely just us selling the show.
And this growth from a two-man project to a 30, 40 plus jugglers who work together a company, has it been an intentional direction that you chose at some point, or has it been an accident
not at all.
from shows that developed and kept on being booked?
I think the only intentional development was the getting more than 2 people. So we did, me and Sean did just the Rarasu as a duet, and then pretty quickly, because you run out of two-person ways of doing things, so you need more people for it to become a little bit more interesting. So then we were a quartet with different people for a while, a couple of years. We did a few shows as a quartet. And I guess it's
a quartet. That's Mike Day and
Lindsay Butcher, who is the original performer who we gave the multi-talented award, because she could do everything. Like literally, she did cloud swing, trapeze, acrobatics, juggling, dancing, clowning, singing. Like seriously, she did everything.
Did you ask her to do all those things as well, or did she only juggle in your shows?
No, she danced and juggled.
That's kind of a shame that she didn't sing and cloud swing.
Yeah, at that point we were very serious, so our shows were very serious. No dancing, no singing or tap dancing at that point.
And then you get a clown person to do them. Well.
Yeah, she was very good. She was amazing, and I think at that point we were introduced to her like a professional. She was such a pro, always on time, always remembered everything. It was she was great. She's still in the business. She runs her own aerial.
Okay.
Yeah. And I guess from then on, maybe maybe it's ambitions. Sean has always been a little bit ambitious in the sense that he, rightly so, wants to push it and wants to go further and wants to. And I am the one who goes, okay, great, but how will we actually do this realistically? How is this going to work? Are we going to be able to pay our rent? And
it sounds like a perfect combination of two forces towards the same goal. So I'd be very jealous too. I wish, or to find a partner who you can put so much trust in and develop so long together, and still have these two different viewpoints all the time to be able to make things work.
No, it's good. It does. Mostly it works. Occasionally we don't agree on, or occasionally I feel like too much of a risk is being taken here. This is not good. But
have things ever worked out bad then? Have you ever taken a risk and been punished for that, or so to say?
No, I mean things go wrong sometimes, but it's life. Things go wrong in life, so it's not no big deal. Financial problems there's been financial risks and that have gone badly, but then other stuff has come from it. So it's on the whole, it's been pretty. We've been very lucky. I think we were just thinking about this. I think we've never cancelled a show.
Wow, never ever.
I can't remember, like never ever. Touch wood. Which is quite amazing, because I was thinking, when there's 9 of us, like in Smash there's 9. Once we had a performer out because they'd broken a finger, but from Smashed, you could take one out and nobody notices.
Yeah, I suppose.
So we did manage to do the show still without this person, but we've never cancelled the show. It's crazy.
Yeah, not bad.
Yeah. But no, that means we've been very lucky, because flights get cancelled all the time, so we've been lucky with that.
You mentioned just now that that your first shows were so serious in that sense.
They were very serious. Oh yes.
And I think still now, even though there's a lot of humor and play in your new performances, still many people view them, especially within circus or within juggling, that it's kind of coming from a more of a high art perspective or of a cultured perspective.
Yeah, well, juggling is high art. Come on.
But it's
Yeah,
also
absolutely.
something that well, we just talked with Sean about his interview recently. That there's still other angles that are also being so the comedy juggling and the street performance isn't quite the most typical display of high art. How does, I don't know what I'm asking, but Gandini fills a very particular role. Has been pushing this forward and becoming to be more accepted. Also the other way around, of course, for cultured theater visitors and dance visitors to accept juggling. And how have you seen this development over the last 20 years and your role in it?
I think that's one of the things that we have been very conscious of right from the beginning, and which was slightly irritating to me from the beginning, in that I didn't realize this because I came to the juggling world from nowhere. I didn't have any of these connotations. I didn't understand that in the UK in 1991, when you did juggling, they were like, hey, clown. I didn't understand. I was like, what? I'm like putting on a show in a theatre. Like, I don't understand. Why do you have such an attitude towards it? And then I realized that's the attitude towards juggling. They were straight away thinking of, now how do I say this delicately? Because I don't want to offend the clown.
I thought
you see what I mean?
Clowns against clowns, yes. Yeah, but there's a very particular kind of image of a clown, of course, which is neither a compliment to a clown or a juggler.
Right, thank you. You said it, I don't have to say it. Excellent. But so, which is why it wasn't a conscious decision to try and do something serious. It was just the way the shows turned out. Probably partly because of Jill, because Jill's choreography was very complicated and very structural. Sean's love of contemporary music, and we wanted to. What we definitely wanted to do is the form of a dance piece. So the 60-minute version. So not 6 minutes, not the 7-minute gala show, but a full piece.
Where did the wish come from?
I don't know. I guess just to tell the whole story. Like you feel like with 7 minutes you have just a snippet.
You can see the skill, but there's very little time to develop.
Very little time to develop an idea, to bring it back, to refer to it, to reverse it, to. So that was something that we did want to do right from the beginning. And we were very happy with the first one because we felt like that's amazing. We managed to do 60 minutes of just juggling and movement. And there was no story. That was also the other thing that maybe was a conscious decision that it's not going to be about something. Of course, whenever you do something, it's about something, but not a narrative story. That you can put a story onto it if you want, but it's not consciously telling you anything.
Would you then describe it as a moving painting or something, or?
I wouldn't be so presumptuous to call it anything. It's just something that happens, and you view it, and you.
And people ended up paying for it and liking it at some point.
Yeah, in the first one was okay. We even did Edinburgh Festival with it, and we did okay. We lost money obviously because you always lose money in Edinburgh, but we got like nice write-ups and nice reviews, and that was good for us. The beginning wasn't easy, I have to say. It was we did have to. Maybe 3 or 4 years in, we had a moment of thinking, is it worth it? Can we be bothered to do this? It's such hard work. You can't pay your rent. You're driving to Scotland to do one show. You're driving back down. There's 10 people in the audience, and they're like, yeah. So there was a moment where where we thought, wouldn't it be easier just to go do street shows and just do something really slushy, the two of us together? And but nah, it's not. It wasn't us really. So
Yeah. So the wish from your your characters to make something in this direction was too strong to.
I think so. I mean, we had a very, I was going to say brief, but it wasn't that brief. It was about maybe, God, it was about 10 years. Nothing is brief when you've been going on for 27 years.
Yes.
When we decided, exactly after this moment where we thought, okay, we need to be able to pay our rent. We need to be able to not count pennies and actually pay people something. And so we did go into the corporate world for a little bit, which actually I quite enjoyed it. It was nice. It's better than working in Sainsbury's on the till. So we had a moment where, a few years where we would take anything that had juggling. So if it was a shopping centre walkabout, yeah, we'll take it. Which was really good for me personally because I hadn't done that sort of thing.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So I was so scared to start with. I was like, shit, you actually need me to talk in the, I can't do that. I need to know exactly what I'm doing, what the lights are and what's the situation. So it was really good for me to just, okay, do a show there. And like, really? Oh, there.
And did you then do typical Gandini stuff like your pattern and sharing, or did you then also do like flashy showing?
Not so much flashy showing, but the material was always the same. The music was different.
Okay, yeah.
And it's incredible.
And you smile
you smile more. It's incredible how you can literally do the same material with the different music, and people go, "Oh, so lovely." Whereas before, it was like, "Oh, it's so serious. What is this?" It's amazing. But yeah, that was good.
It's funny. Yeah.
It was nice to do that. We made enough money to then make something else because at that point there was no funding of any kind at that point. So we took the money from the corporate gigs and put it into shows to make.
That's perfect.
Yeah, it was perfect. Yeah, but I have to say, I'm very happy that I'm in the lucky position to not have to do those jobs anymore, because in the end I was fed up with. It's more the lack of interest really, because you're doing your thing that you've been practicing for 25 years, and they're having their champagne and they're chatting.
It's funny how you get paid more yet engaged less.
I know.
Should be the other way around.
Yeah, it's the way it works. But I'm happy not to have to do that. Too old anyway, so.
So you mentioned subsidies. Is Gandini reliant on subsidies and sponsorships? And
we so in the beginning we received one little bit of funding for the first show, the very first show, and then I think we ran out of their liking of us. So then our funding, we never received anything else, and since, I could be wrong about this, I hope I'm not wrong, Smashed was the one that brought us back in.
Okay. Oh wow.
So
I assumed that a lot of those works had been
no, we self-funded a lot, which is why we've done so much corporate work, because it's an easy way to do it. Smashed, even though it wasn't made to survive for more than that half an hour piece that it was made to be in the beginning, it then went on. We made it into an hour. We got some funding to make it longer, into an hour, and I think that's then brought us back into the funding game, which, like this last show, the latest show, Spring, we have a composition by Gabriel Prokofiev, the grandson of Prokofiev. So this sort of thing is not possible without funding. Alexander Whitley, these are like big big names, big things that you
Alexander
can't.
Whitney is the choreographer.
He's the choreographer, yeah. We have a beautiful lighting
Who
design.
can flash 5 balls? I saw it on Instagram.
Yeah, he got so obsessed. He has the thing. He was great. It was really lovely to see because the first time we met him, he straight away grabbed the object. He got some clubs and he started doing stuff, and we were like, yes, fantastic, thank you. That's the way you need a collaboration to be. That he's interested in the object, and so yeah. But this show wouldn't have been possible without funding. We have performers from different countries. You need to pay their flights, their accommodation, blah blah blah. So we were lucky that they gave us the project. We're on a project funding. So.
And is funding now easier because of the good reputation of Gandini?
I guess so.
Or also,
yeah, I guess so.
Is there a shift in perception on what juggling can be?
I hope a bit of both. Yeah, because there's more and more. The UK is still a little bit hard. I do.
Compared to France.
Yes.
But there's many other countries where there's very little, of course.
There's a couple of companies who are trying to get going in the UK. It's so hard. There's very little money, and sometimes the criteria seems a bit absurd. But
has it always been obvious to you that you're London-based, or have you considered?
Well, now with Brexit, we did consider for a moment, but let's see what happens. Maybe it doesn't happen. So
you do have a wonderful apartment here, of course. But
we have considered Paris or Amsterdam or something like this. But
you'd be very welcome to Amsterdam. I can't say much about Paris, but Rotterdam is developing a circus hub.
Ah, yeah, nice.
Could be in the future.
But no, I think we would like to stay if it doesn't become impossible to leave and come back in the country.
So back from the seriousness and the long shows, because this has just put you in so many interesting places. Also, am I correct? Did they do the Mozart piece in Roncalli at some point?
Yeah,
Roncalli
that
traditional
was nice.
circus. Did you do a whole season there, or how did that work?
What did we do?
Because
No, I think we did
suppose
like
that
a
was a short
Christmas
act,
thing.
right? Okay.
Was it a Christmas thing? It was so long ago. I
It was
can't remember. I think
interesting
it was
for
a
me to
Christmas
see
thing.
that then from this modern circus, things come back into an area where it's the least expected, and it works actually really well, or at least on the video it seemed
Yeah,
to
it
fit
was a lot of
together.
fun. It was so much fun. But that's what I mean. Like we've never had the thing of going, oh no, we don't do that. That's not what we do. We've been pretty happy to do whatever juggling. As long as it's juggling, as long as we're performing, I'm quite happy to be doing it. And I'd never done a traditional circus,
So
actually.
you're just
So it
checking
was
off
so much
arms
fun.
all the time, like.
It was great. The only problem was that we were on after Enzo. Enzo was this amazingly muscular handstand guy. And literally he brought the house down, obviously. And we went on after that going ding, ding, ding.
At least it's something very different, but
Yeah.
you felt like you couldn't miss it.
It was a bit, but that was fun.
You didn't
Yeah,
think
it was
then
all
of like bringing back your contortion qualities and
No, I didn't have any contortion qualities. Yeah. What else? We did the Winter Garden as well. That was
in
also
Berlin.
fun. Yeah, that was great.
Also with this piece or with?
No, that was before, I think. I don't remember the year. I'm sorry. But it was still with Manu, so that must have been maybe 2000, beginning of 2000, something like that. And that was 3 months. So that was another thing that we just wanted to see how it is.
And Wintergarten is more like variete, or is
totally. It's variete, yeah. But it was quite nice, hard work. They work hard, the performers there. But
and so do you, I suppose. Yeah, I remember now. There's some passing videos that you recorded in Wintergarten. You set some records there, I suppose.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, on Juggling
Possibly.
TV there's
Possibly.
passing records in Wintergarten.
Okay.
I think with Iñaki and Owen. Is that correct?
No, because this was before Iñaki and Owen's time.
Okay.
No, sorry. Hold on.
4 people.
It was Iñaki, Iñaki
Yeah, maybe not Owen,
Manu.
but
Iñaki and Manu, so Owen wasn't there yet.
Mhm.
I think it was before Owen's time.
I've seen something somewhere.
I can't remember,
look it up. Yeah, I should have prepared until we can watch this now. I'll maybe put a clip in there if I find something.
The one thing I remember about Winter Garden was Sergei Ignatov came to watch, and we knew, he told us, the silly thing, that he was coming. So this was quite a long way into the run, but we dropped something, and then Sean went, or when he came backstage, Sean said, I'm so sorry, I dropped because I was so nervous that you were there. He said, thank you. I thought that was so cool of him to say, thank you, that you think so much of me that you dropped because you're nervous.
It's funny.
It was good.
So you then already knew each other then, I suppose?
I think so, yeah. I think we had met somewhere, but maybe we had already done a workshop with him.
Yeah, because it's also amazing, like from starting from the zero. Of course, everybody goes through this, but most people do this before their career starts. Kind of, you've met so many people around the scene that just the people you've been able to collaborate with and learn from. It seems like
yeah. Tell me about it. So many amazing people. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think every one of those people have contributed something to the company the way it is, and particularly at that time, you get inspired by people around you. So, yeah.
So, as for juggling itself, at the British Juggling Convention, you were teaching together with Sean the octopus, among other things, and then you did this workshop on ring juggling and on all the, I don't know how many 100 different kinds of throws that you can make with rings, different ways you can hold them, and it gets into very complex details that might not be visible if you see them, but they're very much into trying every different angle, trying everything. And is this also very much what you're into when you juggle yourself?
Me personally, yes, absolutely. I'm very guilty of the let's do this in the million other different ways that you can do, which is too much sometimes. Like, I wished I had more of the for example, Sean's ability to just go with the flow, just try something random. I'm so bad at doing random stuff. I'm way too methodical, which means that mostly I'm okay for shows because I've done it 2 million times, and but it annoys me sometimes that I can't be more. Like, I'm terrible at making tricks. If somebody gives me...
I suppose you make then 100 variations of the one trick, or...
Yeah, but nah. I think my strength, if I have a strength, lies in the fact that if there's let's say a juggling pattern, I'm okay at putting it into a context. But making tricks, it's just like, I'm so crap at it. I'm not good at it.
What do you mean by putting it into a context?
Adding a turn, seeing if it's better this way, like your arm in a different position, that sort of stuff. But normally the way it works is that Sean has a start of something, and I go, oh, that's nice. What is that? And he shows it to me, and then I maybe try and do what he's doing, but do something different, because I haven't managed to do what he does. And then it becomes my way of doing it.
I was wondering, these complex versions of things, how does this translate to something you can do on stage or show to an audience? Because they might not have the same understanding. Even I cannot often always see the different variations of how you can show a flat front from like this angle or this angle or this angle, or how do you make something that you can show off and people can relate to or see something in? Or
how?
Because I suppose the end goal often is to put them on stage, or
not always. No, I think we juggle because we like juggling. Then if something feels like it's appropriate for that routine. Yeah. So you have a start of something. I think we never, very rarely do we do something and go, okay, this we're going to put into that show. Or it's normally like we're just playing with something, and maybe it becomes something else, and then it gets elaborated, and then suddenly you realize that okay, this is going to go into a 4-minute bit, and from then it grows into something longer. So it never is a question of finding something and straight away putting it into something, a specific show. I think. I'm not sure if that's your...
Yeah, I don't know. So then you have like the sessions where you create material are then very separate from the sessions where you create shows then as well, or...
Yeah, I think Sean comes with a lot of ideas. So, really? So, and we normally work on stuff like a year before even thinking about a next show, because juggling is so tricky. You need to have a pool of stuff that you can take from way before you're even thinking about making anything new as a show. Yeah.
And on this complexity of patterns, I was lucky to be able to see Sigma recently, which is you have to say the name again,
Bharatanatyam.
Bharatanatyam dance is the Indian dance based on geometrics and handshakes, am I explaining this correctly? Which is also, I understand much about these patterns and these variations of things, is that correct? So there was this relation between the two of them. Anyway, I was wondering, how does one go into such a research? Because obviously there's overlapping aesthetics, and then what? You're in a room with two I'm so bad at this. Bharatanatyam dancers and two jugglers.
The Bharatanatyam thing is interesting because they have such fantastically complicated rhythms, which we have as well as jugglers. So that was so much fun to play with the rhythmical stuff and the rhythm that balls make when they hit the hands, or the counting rhythms, or so that one was a little bit less to do with me and Kim, who's the other juggler, trying to be the dancers, because there's no point, because it would look ridiculous.
Equally, if they were,
it's a complicated dance form, and you can't possibly learn anything in a month, because we made Sigma in a month. So it was more to do with the mixture of the rhythms and the spatialness and that sort of stuff.
But then physically, how does it translate? You then say like, oh, I know this rhythm, what can you do with this rhythm, or how does it work? This the starting of this?
Yeah, so for example, we've worked a lot with Gandini on rhythm patterns, when the ball hits the hand, the sound it makes, on different time signatures, and they have the same with their feet, so they make similar rhythms. So that's one starting point, for example. They have very complicated, lovely arms, which we sometimes have in juggling, and you can elaborate on that. And Sean has a million ideas always. So there was no problem with that.
If you have only a month to both discover what the other discipline is for them to discover juggling, for you to discover.
Actually, the month was a little bit short, I have to say. I did have a moment of going, we're not going to make this, because we were stupid. We premiered it in Edinburgh Festival as well.
What's wrong about premiering Edinburgh? I've never been there. So.
It's crazy because you don't have any teching time. You have very little. You have like an hour to tech, or maybe 2 hours. But if you're bringing a new show, you don't know the lights. You don't know. It's like it was the second time we were in a theatre.
Yeah, and it's an hour-long show, or so it's quite a few cues there.
Yeah, exactly. So it was a little bit crazy, but it was okay. We managed to go through it. And we also used the mirrors.
Yes, is it those mirrors? The mirrors standing in the room here.
It's those mirrors.
Yeah.
Which also was nice to play with different angles and visuals. I think that was the one thing that we wish we had had a little bit more time on. Just to there was more there, but we didn't really have time to get into nitty-gritty.
So then when a project is finished because of time restraints or because of financial restraints, but so far from the potential could reach, do you ever wish it to come back? Or has there been shows that have been progressing a lot? Yes. Or shows been very static? Or do you just go make a new show that's better because of other inputs?
In the beginning there was a few shows, like we made a show with John Blanchard called Kadunk, which I really wish we had the infrastructure that we have now.
It's a show about bouncing, right?
Yeah, because I actually quite like that. I loved doing that, and it had a lot of bouncing, and actually it was quite narrative. It was about hating the others, so having to be with other people in a room when you don't want to be. So it had a very clear narrative, and it was quite fun. It was I enjoyed that show, but it had a huge set. We didn't have the means to, like, there was nowhere to put it, first of all, and we had no technician, we had no person to sell the show, so.
Yeah, so with the means you have today, you could possibly come back at some point.
Yeah, I think if we had that show today, we would try and push it, because.
Is the bounce cube part of the show as well, or?
Cube?
Yeah, I've seen this video where you exactly.
Yeah, John has it at the
okay.
moment. He has a lovely farm.
Because I recently watched some videos where I think it was in bouncing in Paris, and I suddenly stumbled. Is this Kati in the video? Yeah. She's not from Paris. Yeah. But, there you go, bouncing in this. It's a glass cube.
That was quite fun. A little bit dangerous, but fun.
for the balls that come.
Yeah, because they come at you if you hit the wrong place, and if you hit the corner, they come at you pretty fast. But yeah, it was fun. We did that in the Dome for a year.
Of course, yes. So was it part of the Kadunk as well, or was it just a separate project?
No, that was just a separate thing. John Blanchard had the famous triangle. It was like tables, which then
so you could put them together and
clicked into a triangle, which was great. He did a very nice routine in that. So yeah, he has the cube, because we couldn't. Oh yeah, we lived in this building, but in a different flat that had an outside space. He lived there for about 10 years, rusting.
The cube lived there.
The cube, not John. Yeah, not John.
So it wasn't bad to live in this building.
No, not John.
Okay.
The cube. He was there in the rain.
Sounds like he had an identity. Did he have a name or just a cube?
No, the cube. So then John agreed to take it, because also he was Mr. Cube. He was so great, and he was like, I don't know if he uses it. I hope he does. He has a family now, so he has probably less time to play in the cube. But yeah, it's one of these things again that if we had, I don't know, a space where you can store stuff, but we don't. So.
The easy question is, if people want to see what you do and find out more about you, where should they go? Besides listening to this interview, of course. And
I guess our website is the best. GandiniJuggling.com.
And they also find the schedule for the shows and.
Yeah, they should do. Yeah.
Which are the ones you play in, or you play in Sigma, of course, still, and 4x4.
4x4, Sigma, Spring, Smash.
Yeah, so Spring is the main big new thing, right?
Yes.
That's the one to look out for.
Yeah. The one that I still need to practice like hell.
Okay.
It's so hard.
Yes?
Yeah.
In what way? Is it 7-ring juggling, or is it moving it?
No. It's more the complexity. Yeah, it's more the complexity. And there's a couple of new things for me. We have a bit of color change, which I've never done before. And it's very, very dancey. So there's a lot of floor work and my old bones.
Yeah, is it getting more
It's
difficult?
a bit like, oh. So yeah, I need to keep practicing it. all the time, for now at least, until it becomes a little bit more familiar.
Yeah, I hope I get to see it soon. I wasn't in London when it played here, but otherwise.
Well, next year we're doing 3 nights at the Sanders Wells Theatre, which we're very happy about. So
in 2019.
Yeah, 2019.
Planning so
If
far
you're still
ahead.
here.
Yes, I do intend to. So I think that. Yeah, sure, I'll get to see it. And Chris is telling me all about it all the time. So. The other thing. What's in it for the future? What do you have for dreams and plans for the next 10, 15 years? What do you want to achieve?
10, 15 years. I think for the next, hopefully 5-ish years, I still try and do as much as I can, perform. When they start telling me that, Kati, maybe do you want to sit this one out, and do you want to maybe come and help me from the audience? Then maybe it's time to stop.
Who will be telling you this?
Probably Sean, hopefully.
I thought it was the other way around.
Come and help me watch this.
I would assume that you would be the one to tell Kat and
no.
Sean to sit down. But,
No.
You seem both very much the involved type to be standing and doing.
No. And I guess we've started a little bit with the 8 songs to try and make shows with other people, which was it was great with 8 songs. So it's Sean's direction. Sean's made it, but if I'm asked, I will try and help with what I can. Which
you don't want to take initiative yourself for projects?
No, because Sean's got it. He has it. He doesn't need help. But I mean, we chat a lot, and perhaps he will ask for my opinion, which I will give if it's asked. So it works a little bit more like that. I don't particularly want to have the responsibility of a whole show. I don't think. I wouldn't be good at it. Maybe making it, but not Sean's enthusiasm and friendliness, and I would be way too okay. This is what we're
I
doing.
imagine there's not only different styles in shows, but also different styles of directing, which have their own.
Yeah, but since I haven't done it so far on my own, I think I would be reluctant to start. But I'm very happy to help.
And what do you want to see in future projects? Is there any subjects or concepts that have been on your mind, or that you think are being explored too little in juggling or circus or dance world? Or
I reckon I think we would just go with the same direction. I think there's still a lot of
movement juggling and a bit of theatre.
Yeah, and there's still a couple of collaborations that would be nice to try out. But just pushing the level of, like I said, if I watch the video from Neither, Either, Both and, the material that we, not so much the movement, but more what we do with the balls whilst we're moving, or particularly me at that point, because the skills weren't that great. And if I compare that to now, the juggling has risen a little bit in technique, so it can go further, obviously. So it can keep growing. So that would be nice. We need lots of youngsters to learn stuff. It's a little bit tricky for us because I think, like, Sean would love to push passing things, but for that you need people who do that, and people who are willing to, because it takes a lot of time to learn.
A lot of time together, especially.
A lot of time to get there. We need people who are good with balls, swings, clubs, passing, blah, blah, blah. So I think one of our goals would be to try and create some sort of a way for people to come and learn. Because if we
through performing with you, or through
maybe
being educated
some sort
by
of
you?
a workshop type of thing, where people who are interested could come and try things out and see if they're happy to put a lot of time in, which you would need to do. Because for what we want to do, we will run out of people at some point. So, and it's such a specific way of juggling and moving. So, even though there's amazing people around, you still need that bit of time to learn things.
Yes.
So maybe some sort of an educational side.
Yeah, that sounds very interesting.
Trying to bring more girls into juggling. Although there's a lot more now than when I started. Yeah.
Take them out of rhythmic gymnastics.
Yeah, force them to come. You will juggle.
No, but I have fun helping rhythmic gymnastics.
No, I don't care. You will juggle.
Yes.
Yeah, I think just that, to be honest. I think we're pretty happy with the way things are. If we can just keep going like this for a little bit, we're very happy.
And you quickly mentioned the video of neither, either, or and. Is that the correct order?
Neither the both and, yeah.
Neither both ends. Is there a way for people to watch these videos back? I suppose not online anywhere.
Is there a way?
I've seen there's some old DVDs to get, or do we just need to rely on the stories and the books? Well, of course, there's Juggling Trajectories, which describes quite well all the shows.
We have them on film, but do you know what? I'm not even sure if it's somewhere public. There must be something public.
I don't think so, or at least not something I was able to find.
I know Sean has them. In fact, he's just been transferring, digitalizing films, so maybe that's what he's been doing.
Okay.
Yet another thing that,
we
have bags of films upstairs of 27 years of shows.
And it's one of those side projects that you usually get lost, but I for one would be interested to watch and understand more about how this came to be, because I mean, we have one Gandini in the world. How nice would it be if in 5 years we have 3 Gandini companies who understand where this comes from and can grow it in a similar manner, or I don't know.
Yeah, I think Sean's on it. We're trying to.
Okay, I'll trust that.
Yeah.
Then my last question, and I should have asked you before about this, but would it be all right for you to juggle and show a trick, to show the real deal, and then we
seriously
finish the interview?
Me, who needs to have the right light, and we can't possibly juggle.
We light. No, I saw you practice when you walked in, so I'm sure that there's something.
I don't really have anything.
It can be anything. It can be a second, can be a single catch, but then we know that it's not a fake Kati that I 3D modeled.
Okay.
Would you mind to show something?
3D model. No, three West patterns and one Sean pattern. So I'm trying to force myself to learn something new with clubs, because I'm really, like I said, I'm so bad at doing new things. I just do the precise old things. I'm really trying to force myself, and I love these ones that they're doing, but I find them so hard. So it's obviously not going to work.
Oh yes.
So for me, that's hard.
Yeah.
But I love that.
Oh, yeah, I think it's a pattern in the beginning of this video he shot somewhere in South America. No, it was.
Yeah,
yeah.
So
what
we do with Wes is we slow the tricks down, because we don't understand what he's doing. But if you slow down the film, you get to see what he does, and then you practice it, and then you're like really proud that you get one Wes trick. And you show it to him, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I did that like 7 years ago. I have 2,700 patterns like that."
I find it so fun to watch it. You're both such huge West fans as well. That's very endearing.
How can you not be? Is that okay? That's
yes,
enough?
Thank you very much, Kati.
It's true though, seriously. It's the best way. I have no idea. When I watch him, the film, it's like, what the hell is he doing? Sean's the same. It's like, what is he doing? But occasionally, when you slow it down, you go, okay, right. And then some of it is not quite as hard as you think. You think this is going to be impossible. I'm never going to be able to do this. But then sometimes you see, okay, this I can see this. Yeah, I can see this. I've learned a West trick.
Thank you for watching this episode of Juggle Jabber. I hope you enjoyed it. As always, this is sponsored by the IJA, who also have a Patreon right now. You should go check it out. I'll make sure to include a link in the description, or if you're an IJA member, you're also supporting this channel directly. And I should probably mention that this interview was recorded in May, so sorry for the huge delay on editing and publishing it, but I hope that you enjoyed the end results that came out now. And see you at the next Juggle Jabber.